Did you ever see anybody working who woke up and said, I want a house?
No.
Where I was born, the first thing we do as boys after we get circumcised,
you have to build.
You have to build a small house for the boys.
Is that in Kisii too?
Yeah. And eventually when you now reach the marriage age, you again build a house. I might not have a permanent house where I come from, but I have a house. Why the hell should Ruto think he should build me a house in town? Those are some of the things that he missed out when the people were expressing, the people with pay slips. Many of them have houses already. You know what is going to happen in places like Lavington, where we are now? Some of these buildings that are coming up, you know, they are being bought by foreigners.
Yeah, by the foreigners.
Mostly the Sudanese and the Somalis are the ones who are buying these plants. Yes. And the Chinese, maybe those who are participating in building and so on. In a few years, these houses will have no occupants. Do you know why? Because of the cost of the high cost of rent.
See, Ruto is building your houses.
Ruto is now building houses.
So we should go there.
These people who are I know people in Lavington here don't vote. Because they are going to lack tenants in these houses and they are going to become poor. They'll be holding what we call dead capital. No bank will want to give a mortgage against such a property that is valueless.
Please don't be against our learned president, please.
I'm not against him. I just happen to be telling him the truth, and there are so many people who don't like the truth. The guys passed the finance bill because it came out recently. They were bribed. And even, who said it? The president himself has been bribing members of parliament to pass bills. And that is against the constitution. So the issue of one term, actually, all the MPs, elected members of parliament who are in parliament today, might only do this term. I'm very sure even in their constituencies they are very sure of the same. That is why you look at a place like Central, the counties in Central, coming all the way to Nairobi here in Githurai, a UDA MCA wants to resign, pretending it is because of the governor failing to do things ABCD. But what we know, the story on the ground is, they are being forced by their people on the ground. They are being told, if you continue supporting this UDA government, you'll not get another term. So anybody who wants to get another term has to change, including the president himself, like my brother has said. But for the president, I think it is too late.
So the problem here, because I want to ask Omo something on what you've said. So the problem here is not, because I know according to me, I know that there are also those members of parliament who are working. The people have worked. People like Ndini Nyoro have worked.
Sure.
Ndini Nyoro has really worked. When you go to somebody like Babu Wino have really worked. So. Where's the problem coming from? Is it that these guys are working with William Ruto, or they are following what William Ruto is doing, or William Ruto is saying, or what is the problem? I don't understand.
It is the perception, and in such matters there is what we call collateral damage.
Okay.
A lot of good people will be voted out by association.
Okay.
Not because they did anything wrong, but by association. And where does the association come from? They are the members of the parliament that became the worst in the history of of our country. So that is the only reason why they will be voted out, including those you are mentioning. Ndini Nyoro might not go anywhere. Somebody will appear from somewhere, somebody unknown, and they will get elected by the wave that Rigathi is creating in Central. Unfortunately, I wish it was somebody else. I wish it was not Rigathi. But that is the person they have in Central at the moment. You know, sometimes things happen, maybe if you allow me say this, because of the grace. Despite all the sins that Rigathi has committed in this country, today he has the grace of being listened to by the people. Because Ruto has made the presidency look so bad that anything else looks good. Yes.
I'll come back to you. Honorable Thomas.
Yes.
There is something here that Dan is mentioning, that the president has made the presidency look like a position that can be run by even an MCA. Yet we have a lot of people who are eyeing to become presidents. Somebody vied for presidency for over 5 times. He has failed. He has not even made it. So my question is this: between draining the swamp and retaining some of the people that maybe others fail or others think that have somehow worked, which one do you prefer?
You see, for the very first time in history, allow me to say this.
Okay, you are allowed to say.
Thank you, Boniface. For the very first time in history, the house on the hill, that is State House, used to be the house with its dignity. Anyone occupying that office was respected. But now, look here. We are seeing delegations day in, day out, going to State House to get handouts. And I'm informed that they receive up to 10,000 Kenya shillings. The other day it was teachers. The other day it was MCAs from my home county. So State House has been turned to be a ground for bribery. So what this basically implies is that President William Ruto has sensed defeat coming 2027 because he has lost touch with the ground. Our economy is in mess. And this is why I tell people to be reading about Professor Fred Ogola. He has written extensively about how to turn around the economy of this country. You see, our economy is in shambles, a Boniface. And as I'm currently speaking, many Kenyans are living from hand to mouth.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah? On a daily basis, I try to talk to people how they look about the economy of this country. Yeah? And like yesterday, I met a lady in Karen. And this lady was going to the hospital, and she told me that, my friend, the economy of this country is so bad. She told me that many people are living at the very bottom of the barrel. Reason? The president and his economic advisors, David Ndini included, are coming up with poor economic policies that have made life extremely difficult for people. The lady told me that it's even difficult to save. Saving nowadays is so difficult because the moment you receive your salary, it goes to the basic necessities, paying rent, paying electricity, buying food. There's nothing left for saving. So if we cannot save for the future, what does that basically imply? It means that we are living from hand to mouth. From hand to mouth. So what we really need as a country, we need a vision-oriented people. People who should tell us how to turn around the economy. President Hakainde Hichilema, when he was elected president in Zambia, the first thing that he did was to review their debt. So they had to restructure the manner in which they could pay that debt. And that's how Zambia is doing economically. Do you know that the economy of Zambia is far much ahead than us?
Yes, that's right.
Yeah? What we need to know is that 7 Kenyan shillings is equivalent to 1 Zambian kwacha. Yeah? So that's a very strong economy. So the president is overborrowing. He's overborrowing from within our borders, from local banks, from commercial banks. What does it tell you when a government is borrowing from commercial banks? You can imagine a government is competing with local companies to go for loans. What do these commercial banks do? Of course, they have to lend to the government because they know that the loans are always secure. So the local investors lack funds to run their projects. Talk about contractors. Those people are not getting paid. So it implies that there is no circulation of money in the economy. You see? So money is being stolen, stashed in foreign accounts. There is no circulation of money in the economy. So that's why this life is extremely difficult.
So
Kenya, as a developmental state, I don't really think whether there's anything that we can expect done. as a developmental state, and with the poor leadership in place, there is nothing that we can expect. So, my fellow Kenyans, we need to tighten our belts. Because life is going to be tougher and tougher and tougher until the very particular day when we put in place visionary leaders.
So in other words, what you're trying to say is that there's no need of keeping other, we just drain the swamp. Whether you've worked so well or not, you just have to go home.
You know, when these people came to power, they promised us heaven on earth. They told us on how they were going to empower the Boda riders, the Mama Bogas, the low earners in the economy. But what did they do? Display of there was what we call the grandiose display of opulence. Someone is walking the streets and is just happy, smiling, how he's wearing a watch of 2 million. That's nonsense.
I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
Suppose you have the opportunity to vie for any position in this country.
Yes.
And you're looking around you and you realize that you have the capability and you can. Sure, let me say that you can. Just like our brother, our friend is saying that he really wants to. He's really going to try, and you get that opportunity. Don't you think that you will also promise people heaven and then you give them earth? You promise them heaven on earth and then you give them hell on earth.
There is what we call servant leadership.
Okay.
That is the virtue that most of our leaders, the current crop of leaders, that is what they lack. Servant leadership. Service to humanity, service to God. That is what even the Bible tells us. So we really need to be very, very honest with ourselves. And I think this is why other countries like Sweden, the United Kingdom, Britain, USA, this is why they are far much ahead in terms of development. Because there are rules and regulations that mitigate corruption. You know, we have very good rules and regulations that talk about how to handle corruption. You have rules and regulations that talk about public finance management. Like it spells out how public resources should be spent. But now, who are our leaders? You see, the moment they come there, their main agenda, the agenda item is how to enrich themselves. Professor Joachim Hans Morgenthau has written extensively about politics among nations. He has also written about scientific man versus power politics. And the common denominator in his writings is that the national interest should be put first. The national interest, the state national interest, should be put at the position one, then other interests should follow. But now here we have a president whose selfish interest, he has put his selfish interest at heart, unlike the national state interest.
Okay, I'll come back to you to ask the last question. Let me go back to Ramadan. There is this thing that I want to ask. You talked about the 13th Parliament. That people have really lost trust in the 13th Parliament, which I can concur with you on that. But now my question is this: you know, in as much as maybe we are talking about change, where should this change start from? Should it start from these members of Parliament, or is it supposed to start from us citizens, or from the government as a whole?
Change. Now I'll explain it based on our vision as Transform Kenya.
It's okay.
Our job is to change from the grassroots. It means even that voter down there has to be educated enough to understand that this vote I'm going to cast has this effect. The reason some people sleep hungry, the reason the price of so many things is high up in the sky, is because many of the voters go for handouts instead of looking at what somebody is offering them. Let me give you an example. When I declared that I'd be, I had at some point, let me take you back a bit. At some point I got so frustrated and I said I'll not participate in politics again.
Okay.
And you know, there is that nagging feeling that is always coming. You know when you feel you are born to do something, anytime you are not in that space, you even feel depressed.
Yeah.
So it brought me to that point. And about 4-5 days ago, I made a decision and said, no, this is the reason why God created me. I feel this is what I should be doing. So I'm going to go for it. You know, I had some of my closest supporters, one of whom was my elder brother, another one a cousin. They both passed on within a period. My brother passed on in November. And this other guy who was supporting me, he was even my neighbor here in Nairobi, he's my cousin. He passed on like 2 months ago. So I was asking myself, God, these are the people who have been encouraging me to go for this position.
Now they are gone.
And you have taken them. I even told my cousin's wife in the sitting that now you see your husband was supporting me for this, now he's dead. The other person who was really encouraging me and thought I had ideas that could change that area died last year. Now am I going to stand alone? But after going through that process of reflection and depression in quotes and so on, I finally made a decision and said, I'm going to go for it. And I shared the message within my circles. And the message reached the ground. The kind of calls I'm getting is people who want me to send them money for, you know, we are here with Wazee, so send something. We want to go and represent you in our church fundraising, send something. That kind of attitude is what chases a lot of good people out of politics, because they don't necessarily have the resources at that particular time you are asking for them. And this is why a lot of good leaders keep off from politics. Mimi hata mkiniitisha pesa na nisitume, I'll still come with these ideas. And if you don't want to give me, it is well and good, I'll have tried. I'd rather have preferred somebody else going for it. But in the absence of that somebody else, what do? And you seem to be, you may be having that idea.
So the problem,
go for it.
So in other words, you're trying to say that the problem is not the 13th parliament. The problem of change
is
should
the voter.
Start from us, the voters.
Yes, the problem is the voter. The moment we have a voter who is enlightened and knows that this person is going to bring the change I need, that is the time we will have, to use somebody's words, I want to quote somebody else who said, we will have matured as voters the day we decide that we are not going to look at people in terms of how much they are going to buy us with. But so long as we are still taking those handouts from those people, some of that money you don't even know where it came from. We are still going to have people who are going to mess us up. And that is what happened with the current parliament. That is what the president is now doing, trying to buy teachers and all sorts of things. He has gone back to factory settings. By the way, that is what he was doing after 2018, after the handshake. And that is how he became president. So I want to beseech you watching me today. Don't vote for somebody because of the handouts. But I can assure you, Bonnie, like I have said, this particular parliament, we are going to drain the whole pool. The whole of it.
Well, Mr. Honorable Thomas,
Yes.
as we wind up, I've got two things that I want us to talk about. But I want you to handle one, and then Honorable Dan will handle one. We have got this issue of political mobilization. And under political mobilization, we have got two categories. We have got tribal mobilization and economic mobilization. So I want to talk about this issue of economic mobilization, because we understand that this is our country right now. It needs someone who is sober, who understands how economy runs, and who knows what to do, where, when, and how. And then after that, you'll talk about tribal. And under tribal, I want you to bring it this way, that we have got a lot of people who wants to vie. In your region, we have got lawyers. We have got Raila'S said that of course ODM And some people say that ODM is for Luos. We have got Kisii, we have got Matiang'i, Maraga. In Central we have got Martha Karua is there, Rigathi Gachagua is there. Rift Valley we have got William Samoei Ruto. In Coastal Province we have got a lot of people wants to vie. So in that I'll direct you on that question, but I just want you to prepare on that. So back to you. Can you tell us about this issue of economic mobilization?
You see, Boniface, number one, the political economy of this country is doing so badly. It's doing it so badly in the sense that when this regime took over 3 or so years ago, we thought they could come up with policies that could transform this country economically. But what did they start doing? Number one, I spoke about what we call the grandiose display of opulence, especially by those who occupy positions of power. Someone is going to the media and saying that my suits are from Italy and they cost 5 million. My watch is from France and it costs 3 million. My shoes are from US and they cost 8 million. That's the greatest tragedy of our time and history. See, when we have such a kind of leaders, it replicates what is in the ground. These are not people who are ready to work for the people. They are there to serve their personal self-interest. You see, 3 years ago, Kenya was the regional hegemony, especially in the East African and also Central African region. A regional hegemony in the sense that it was a small superpower within the region. But now countries like Ethiopia are coming up, and they're coming up at a very, very high supersonic speed. Recently, the president of our country was in Ethiopia, Addis, where he went together with his colleague, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, a great gentleman of our time and history, who has turned around the economy of that country. So they went there to open the Grand Renaissance Dam in Ethiopia, the largest man-made dam in Africa. You see, that dam is producing 5,000 megawatts of electricity, and they will be supplying even some to us. So when Abiy Ahmed stood up to speak, this is what he had to say, that this dam has cost us billions and billions of dollars. And what was more fascinating was the fact that that dam was funded by Ethiopians, especially from the diaspora. And now when our president stood up to speak, he said that even back in Nairobi, Kenya, Kenyans of goodwill allowed us to deduct from their pay slips so as we can build the affordable housing. You can imagine. That's what our whole president is telling us.
Why deducted? No, cameraman, why deducted?
So the president is saying that now that the Ethiopians funded this thing wholeheartedly, even back in my country, fellow Kenyans came out of their hearts,
out of their willingness.
So they say that deduct 1.5% of my gross earnings, so that you can build affordable housing. So, but the greatest challenge that we have as a country is poor political goodwill, especially from our leaders. I think our leaders, the next crop of leaders, must decide whether they are going to work for the people or they are going to work for themselves. You see, since this regime took over, we have meddled with internal affairs of other countries. You see what happened in Sudan. You see what happened in Congo. So what does it basically imply? This country has been known for bad reasons since William Ruto took power. And that one I cannot mince my words. I cannot go without saying that we elected leaders that either don't know what they are doing or are just doing it blatantly without the disregard for the rule of law. So I want to say that as we approach the elections of 2027, we need to be keen enough on who we choose, on who we elect. And the clarion call to the opposition political figureheads is that they need to come together. Because when they come together, they will have to work together. Coming together is what we call unity. Working together is also progress. You see, I've done quite some research on in the elections, the previous elections in figureheads came together to form the Tonzi Alliance, and that's how the current president was defeated. So that particular unit of purpose is essential if at all they have to defeat William Ruto. But if they will not unite the core, then my conviction is beyond parallel venture that their Waterloo will be met at exact 29 a.m. in the voting day.
On your side, we are talking about tribal mobilization.
Yes, Bonnie, before we go to tribal mobilization, there is an issue that came up concerning the deduction on the pay slip. And you asked me a direct question.
Were you deducted?
Now, as a way of answering you, I want to give you two examples of the people I know that I've worked with on some project. Recently, there is a young man related to me, and I had advised him on some kind of investment. And that kind of investment requires that you give the KRA PIN and so on and so forth. So recently he sent me a message and asked me, why did you take my details to this government? Now they have deducted me. That is number one. Number two, on my way here today, I met a lady friend of mine, and she wanted to take a loan from a bank. So as you know, I'm in the financial services sector, so I advise on such things. So she called me, and when we were talking, I called one of the bankers who is also a friend of mine to advise on the finer details. And what came out from that discussion is like my brother has said, and another one said before, this government is now borrowing money from the local banks. So even if this particular person whom I will not mention wanted a loan, he or she will most likely get it at a higher interest rate
than the government,
or even not get it at all. Because the government has decided it is going to take loans from the local banks. The same government is pretending to give people money, to lend people money through Hustler Fund. So is it borrowing from the bank to lend to the people? I don't understand the kind of calculation they are doing there. But one thing I'm sure of it is not good for the economy. If you want to grow the economy, you let the local businesses deal with the local banks. You look for money elsewhere. There is too much money that is being stolen in this by people in this government every day. There are so many cases that have been taken to court, and all we hear is that, I don't know, the commission has repossessed, like it came out the other day, repossessing of some of the property belonging to one of the former governors. And that is the kind of leadership we have. And that brings me to your question on tribal mobilization. Tribal mobilization in itself is not a bad idea. Under Transform Kenya movement, we know our country is divided based on tribes, and we know different tribes are in different places. Actually, as we speak now, we are covering about 16 counties, and we are moving on. We look forward to covering the whole country. So when you mobilize a tribe towards a positive idea, in my view, it is good mobilization. I want to give you an example.
Okay.
Many of our brothers and sisters from Kisii are in a certain state that I'll not mention in the US. And in Australia, you go, you'll get them clustered together. And in the process, they are supporting each other to grow. They are even was it in the UK? They even the Kikuyus managed to mobilize enough to get one of them elected. No, it was in Australia. In Australia. So tribal mobilization is good. The Indians do it all the time. We have Indians here. That becomes racial now. But you see, they are supporting each other. One of the things that other communities need to learn from Indians is this. Every homestead of an Indian, everybody who turns 18 takes, I'm in the insurance sector, so I know this thing. every person in a Hindi family who gets to 18 years has a life policy. Now, what does a life policy do? It means in case that person dies, it becomes beneficial to the family because the insurance company will pump in some money. That was the life cover of that person. One, they do, by the way, they do cremation. My cousin whom I'm telling you died recently chose to be cremated. It is a decision that many of us were not very comfortable with, but we accepted anyway. And I realize it is actually cheaper to do that. So these people have life covers. The money they get from insurance companies is reinvested in the family businesses. That is why you can get an Indian shop has been running for the last 100 years. They don't even know who started it, but it is still running. That is why the likes of Manu Chandaria and the other one, Vimal Shah, are able to run such big businesses because I think it's because of that financial capital injection that is put in the business every time somebody dies. Compare with where I come from. Every time somebody dies where I come from, we have to spend even the little resources that are there to take care of the needs of the people who are coming for that.
And to prepare for food.
It becomes very expensive. I think this is something that some of the cultures need to look at. But going back to the topic, we are in politics here. Tribal mobilization is a very important factor.
The Mtuwetu factor.
The Mtuwetu factor.
Yeah.
And that is why Rigathi retreated to Wamunyoro. And that is where he's running the show from. And I'm told even people who go visiting him there, and he has them to pay something.
You have to pay when you're coming to
I think I'll also need to go and start a place there where I come from, in my village called Savannah, to start calling people to come and see me and they bring me some money. I think that would be a good idea.
Let me help you. Let me help you there.
Yes.
You know, one thing you have to understand with Rigathi Gachagua is that people did not follow Gachagua. Gachagua followed people. That you have to put that in mind. That the moment Rigathi Gachagua was impeached, people did not see that, okay, now Rigathi Gachagua is impeached, let us now go to Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua sat down after crying and then wiped his tears, came out and realized that, okay, this is the direction that now people want. Now, instead of relaxing here, let me follow them, and then in that process, become their leader. Are you seeing that? And so if you can do that, well and good.
And that is, you know, that one I give it to Rigathi. You know, he's in quotes, a wise leader in that sense. As a wise leader, you find out where the people want to go, and you follow them, and eventually lead them. And this goes to our president now. You know, our president thinks he's the brightest man that happened to Kenya. And that is why he keeps reminding us that he has a PhD, I don't know in what. That PhD should help you. That is okay. It is good you are the most educated president that Kenya has today. But learn to listen to the people.
Ruto is learned.
The people on the ground are the ones. You know, the whispers that are going on down here. That is what he's missing. And that is where Moi was wise. You know, Moi could pick a phone and call any chief. He had his intelligence officers all over. Moi could have known even what is happening in your home. Ruto has no idea what people are going through in this country. And that is why every time he wakes up, he's thinking of these grand, big projects that he wants to accomplish within a very short time. I think Uhuru was wiser when it comes to the question of housing
and decision making.
Did you ever see anybody working who woke up and said, I want a house? Where I was born, the first thing we do as boys after we get circumcised,
you have to
build an esimba, a small house for the boys.
Is that in Kisii too?
And eventually when you now reach the marriage age, you again build a house. I might not have a permanent house where I come from, but I have a house. Why the hell should Ruto think he should build me a house in town? those are some of the things that he missed out when the people were expressing, the people with pay slips. Many of them have houses already. You know what is going to happen in places like Lavington, where we are now? Some of these buildings that are coming up, you know, they are being bought by foreigners.
Yeah, by the foreigners.
Mostly the Sudanese and the
Somalis.
are the ones who are buying these lands. Yes. And the Chinese, maybe those who are participating in building and so on. In a few years, these houses will have no occupants. Do you know why? Because of the cost of the high cost of rent.
See, Ruto is building your houses.
Ruto is now building houses.
So we should go there.
These people who are I know people in Lavington here don't vote. Because they are going to lack tenants in these houses and they are going to become poor. They'll be holding what we call dead capital. No bank will want to give a mortgage against such a property that is valueless.
Please don't be against our learned president, please.
I'm not against him. I just happen to be telling him the truth, and there are so many people who don't like the truth. Let me give you an example of this young man who was the 31-year-old who was shot dead in the US. Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, Charlie Kirk, yeah.
This guy started a movement that changed the thinking of the whole, almost 3/4 of the Americans. And that is why he was killed. But when, you know, I didn't even know him myself. But the day he was shot dead, I decided to sit and listen and hear what he had been addressing. Do you know what he had been saying? The issues of God never created more than two genders. It was male and female.
So
that is the point. Number one. Number two, telling the politicians the truth that they don't want to hear. And we are going to keep telling them. We know I've never seen somebody in Kenya who was killed for speaking the truth, so I'm going to continue speaking. Okay. And I hope they don't kill me in the process. But if they decide to kill me, it is okay. After all, who will not die?